Leo Venus transit, Leo Venus, we're going to have an opposition with Pluto in Aquarius. And essentially what this is, it's a checkpoint. It's a checkpoint. This checkpoint is what has the expression of our heart to remain consistent with the intention of the South Node Virgo, the Hermit card, number 9. Understand that. This is that we are being protected from the detriment of our relationship with Venus. We will not be misled by Venus. We will not fall into addictions or delusions through Venus. We will not justify abuse of the self or of others concerning Venus. We will not get carried away concerning Venus. This is what we are being recovered and restored from. Understand that. Understand that. Get it through your head. Get it through your head. There's an intention here. South Node Virgo is redemption. South Node Libra transit was the end of our being carried away and abusing Venus expressions within ourselves. And this includes the Venus archetype, which is the arrested development female who is subject to the spell of feminism and liberalism. How did you know that was coming? On an individual basis, this is where your talent is, your gift. It is also where you have height in the 5th house expression. Understand, the 5th house is the glory of Venus. It is the glory of Venus. However, what needs to be clarified is that the 5th house, it represents the kingdom of heaven. It is not yours. It does not belong to you. It is not your territory. It is not from you. It is from heaven. And because it is from heaven, you will use it based on the intention and will of heaven. Thank you very much. There will be no selfish aims. We will not seed the behaviors, the attitude, the thought process, the state of conscience of narcissism. We will not fall back into narcissistic tendencies, self-glory. Look at me, I want a lot of attention, I want validation. Look at me, give me praise, give me worship. Fall at my feet, fall in love with me, make me feel good. As I jump up and down on the couch, take pictures of me, give me lots of attention, clap for me. Pluto in opposition is saying, excuse me, what is all that for? What is this serving? You need that much attention. It's asking us to take the impulses of our heart and make sure that it is consistent with a service, not self-glorification. To make sure that what it is that we are inclined to extract pleasure and joy from, that it is serving a purpose that is higher than yourself, greater than yourself, vast, more vast than yourself, and that it has a connection to public service, civics, the people, some benefit that is moving and passing through that which you glorify, Leo. Rather it's yourself, your relationship, your arts, your talents, whatever it is that you're taking so much joy, pride, and excitement in, make sure that you submit it into a service. There will be no more self-centered narcissism in these energies. Heaven is not providing for you to be a fucking narcissist. Get over yourself. Get over your fucking self. Understand that. Let's get it right. South Node Virgo is holding number 9 against the detriment of Venus. The diva is in her last season, okay? This is the last transit of the diva. Once Venus passes through Leo, the diva then goes to finishing school, Virgo. This is where she learns to curtail, refine, properly heal, mature her faculties and her presentation. This is not only with the female archetype of society, this is with every last one of us and how we express ourselves through the Venus impulse, natally, or even in relation to the transit. That shiny, glittery thing that is with you in your soul, in your personality, in your mind, in your relationship, in your applications, in your career, whatever it is that you have that shines. Thank you very much. It is for the kingdom of heaven. Thank you very much. It is for the kingdom of heaven. Let's get this right. It is a service for the people. Therefore, it has to be adjusted, tailor-made, modified in order to accommodate that intention. Okay? It has to make it to the world market, and it has to be appeasing for or to the people. That is, the essence of it remains consistent with the most natural and authentic expression of the self. However, the packaging has to be packaged in a way that is palatable and receptive for the people. Thank you very much. This is very important that we get this part right. Venus passing through Leo, it's the point of our chart where we get to be the king or the queen. It's the portion of our chart where we carry the greatest influence. It's where our charisma is quite charged and magnetic when Venus pulls through. It has strong attraction. Understand that. This portion of ourself is not to be misunderstood as something that we lust for our own aims and purposes. We have to connect it to what is this supposed to be servicing. If you look into your fifth house, you will understand the context of that. In essence, your numerological heart, soul, urge expression is what details what that jurisdiction is. You're supposed to show up for it at your life path. That light is for your life path. That shiny, glittery thing that is with you, coming from the heart, from the expression of the inner child, it is to be submitted to the life path. Thank you very much. Not your narcissistic lust. If this Leo placement happens to be in some of your relationship houses, it indicates that you need to learn how to devote your relationship status to a service, a purpose that is higher, greater than yourself. Seeing that the relationship is a catalyst for you to deliver higher value, meaning, good, service, benefit to humanity because of the relationship, based on the relationship, not for your own covetousness, if I'm saying that word right. Somebody correct me in the comments. Understand? Wherever your Leo placement at, that is where you have to submit it for the kingdom of heaven. I'm putting you on notice, okay? So if you walk around like a fucking peacock, narcissistic, arrogant, need validation and attention, a fucking diva in some high heels, man or woman, that's not what it's for. Get over yourself. Don't be so fucking flattered. All right? Get over yourself. Stop looking in the fucking mirror so goddamn much. Understand, this is not what it's for. Sober mind, a little humility, and stay focused on what the fuck we here to do. South Node Virgo, that's number 9 energy, okay? You don't get praise for number 9. You don't get clout for number 9. You have an empty audience to show up to at the number 9. When there is a number 9, you show up to an empty audience. Thank you very much. The empty audience is there because truth is not something that everybody has a resilience to receive and respond to. It is not going to be praise. It is not going to be lights and glitter. It is not going to be fame and flashing cameras. Understand that. Finding a little humility to accept what comes with the territory of true and sincere service. Thank you very much. True and sincere service. The most valuable and most important acts that you perform, the most important and valuable moments that you will have will not be on camera. It will not be recorded. It will not be for the public. It will be where nobody can see it. Your most valuable service will be when nobody sees it or hears it. Thank you very much. We are getting sincere, okay? All this diva mentality that we have had, we have got to get it out of our system. Get it out. Get it out the fucking system. Thank you very much. It's time for some sincerity here. It's time for some realness. Know that, all right? Your pretty face ain't gonna get you through. Your nice body ain't gonna get you through. Your charisma ain't gonna get you through. The heart center is what gets us through. The heart center. Know that. So Venus enters Leo in a test run. This test run can tempt us all to really long to be desirable. Venus is an impulse that craves to be desirable in the same way that Mars craves to be respectable. Mars wants to be respected. Venus wants to be desired. So we want to be desired for the glory of our expression, fifth house, for the inner child's expression, for the gift, the talent that's innate in us with our soul journey. But that's not what it's for. That is not what it's for. Here's the plot twist. Here's the plot twist. If you go deep into the forest, you turn over some rocks, you will see the most beautiful patterns on a snake, on a salamander. I know because when I was younger, I got to go to some, areas and campgrounds on field trips. And one of my favorite things to do, was flip over rocks looking for salamanders. You know what I mean? That's when we went on field trips going upstate New York. Understand that. Beautiful patterns. But anyway, if you go somewhere deep into nature, you will see the most beautiful patterns on birds, on cats, on rodents, on fish. The most beautiful patterns. Patterns that will blow your mind, okay? Patterns that you can never imitate. Beauty that you can never imitate. You go deep under the sea, and you will see fish with patterns that will spellbind you in how beautiful they are. The attention that they can draw, the concentration of attention that they can hold in their beauty. But here's the thing. They wear this coat, they wear these patterns, they wear these colors, they wear this beauty. But are they looking for cameras? Are they looking for clout? Are they looking for feedback? No, they're not. They're playing their role. And this is what we have to learn too. We have to learn to have a gift, a talent, something valuable with us, but not have to depend on praise, validation, worship, attention, so on and so forth. Our sincerity has to generate. True sincerity has to generate. We have to learn how to perform before an empty audience. Do we know how to perform before an empty audience? Will you give up if there is an empty audience? If there isn't a bunch of clapping, a lot of reaction and response, validation, praise, encouragement, people giving you the feedback that you would wish you could have just to have a little more support or encouragement to keep going a little bit longer with it. Oh yes, it's difficult. It's not easy. And it really exposes how sincere we are or not. When you don't get feedback, when you know that the value that you have is truly substantial, substantive, when you know that it is even invaluable, what you have with you. But there's no feedback, there's no clout, there's no praise, there's not even gratitude or appreciation. Will you give up? Will you quit? Or will you stay committed knowing that the point is to deliver, not to be praised? Do we understand that? So this is where we also will have to pair a sober state of mind, a groundedness about what we are taking joy or pleasure in at this time. Something has come through to connect you with a sense of joy and pleasure. But it's not meant for us to get carried away with it in such a way where we lose sight in what it was meant for. Because if pleasure made its way to you, if joy made its way to you at this time during a South Node Virgo, surely that Venus impulse is meant to serve you in your mission. If it is meant to serve you in that mission, make sure that you remain sober enough to keep sight in that fact. Yes, you can enjoy the blessing that came with you through Venus, but don't forget that it also must serve the purpose that you know you have. It must be part of the service, not clout, not validation, not greed, not addiction, not getting carried away, but remaining consistent with the number 9 Hermit card, Virgo, divine masculine, which re-gives birth to baby Jesus, the Christ impulse. Understand that is the living heart based on its wisdom. Where did wisdom come from? Finding unity in the duality. Gemini, okay? Gemini, seeing and perceiving duality. Third house perception, I see duality. Things are opposing, things are against itself, things don't make sense. But if you can be sincere enough to seek understanding, en route you will arrive at first wisdom and love. Wisdom and love. That is the fruit of Gemini in the face of the duality. Understand? Do we get this picture? Do we get this picture? Okay? So, Venus is coming at a checkpoint as soon as she steps into Leo. Okay? She's already in opposition to Pluto. And that opposition, as she smiles, as she grins, as the joy of the heart is provoked, as the pleasure of the heart is provoked, okay, through that 5th house and also that Leo placement, whatever house the Leo presides over in your natal birth chart. It's very important to look into that detail, whatever that means. You are going to look down the mouth of Pluto. You're going to look down the mouth of Pluto. Okay? I have Pluto in the 3rd house natally, so every time you hear a message from me and my intellectual property, you are in opposition with Pluto, okay? That is why my messages can be quite dark, heavy, burdensome, okay? I get it. But if you can endure and have the resilience, you will certainly transform through the principle of Pluto. Understand that. If you can handle the truth, you will empower yourself through Pluto. Understand that, because it is innate, okay? Same thing happens here. We have to look down the hallway of Pluto. And looking down that, we could find a reality in our joy and our pleasure that could tempt us to let go of or lose the pleasure altogether. But that's not what's meant. We're meant to remain sober, realistic, and also understanding that all that you have is meant for service, not for self. It is meant for service, not for self. Even what you take joy and pleasure in, it is meant for service, not for self. Okay? So that house, we need to examine it, we need to investigate it, and we need to understand it and how to apply that to this intention. We have a second new moon in Virgo. Okay? There are 2 new moons in Virgo. We just had one. We're going to have another one. So Virgo is a significant point of mystery right now for us to understand and investigate. We just had the black moon. Okay? So there's a lot to understand about the Virgo placement right now. You do want to understand and investigate your Leo expression and placement. This includes 5th house. This includes Leo placement. This includes the sun in your chart. This also includes the heart, soul, urge expression. Okay, 5th house, characterize. And to really understand these things, it takes some close examination. Okay, so I encourage all of you, get scheduled for a natal birth chart reading to really understand your Leo placement and how Venus will take effect to your personal expressions of your talents and gifts, and the roles that you have been longing to play in life, and what Pluto in opposition could mean concerning that, what should be done, how to incorporate the numerological expression into that, along with your North Node, natal, and life path, okay? So these things really need to be investigated and understood. Schedule for your natal birth chart reading so we can get down to the bottom of it. Understand that. Now, it's not too little, not too much to mention. Collectively, what this means, especially with the female archetypes in society, is that you're going to have to do a little bit better than the presentations for clout validation, attention, so on and so forth. Society is going to give a deep, dark, cold feedback to that energy after this point. So once Venus passes over the first 3 degrees of Leo, it's a point of no return. And that point of no return is that society is going to get in a very honest, truthful, Plutonian reaction to those archetypes of society who are very attractive, charismatic, pretty, talented even, okay? But you're not serving the people with it. It's for self-glory. And people are going to see through that. They're going to pick it apart. They're going to embarrass you. They're going to call you out. They're going to talk shit in the comment section. Everything else, okay? So this is a point of no return where the feedback is about to get grimy. Okay, it's not going to be nice, the feedback of these type of archetypes who are so attention hungry, thirsty for validation, hand claps, likes, worship, lust, and everything else. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Okay, so society's about to throw that right back and say, hey, we ain't doing this no more. Do you got something? Do you got something substantive that we can have? You know what I mean? So this is consistent with the intention of South Node Virgo, okay, which works against the detriment of Venus. It's saving us from the detriment of Venus. Understand that, all right? This is getting Venus ready for finishing school and Virgo. Know that. Now, it could also be the obsessive claim of a person because Venus is passing through Leo. With Venus passing through Leo, there could be this beautiful expression that's radiating out of someone, and there's a group, a community, a collective or body of people who could assume that they have entitlement to you, ownership of you, claim of you, or who are in position to be the beneficiaries of your light, of your gifts. And this is where it is timely that important conversations be had based on Libra Mars transit to balance the scales, consistent with the new moon Virgo, which is my day belongs to me, my time schedule is mine. I'm not your damn slave. Understand? And so you're going to have some diplomatic conversations. All of these transits that are coming up are provoking diplomatic points of imbalance. And this could be one of them that's coming up as Venus transits through Leo. There's a way that you're going to not be able to resist to express yourself as Venus comes in. It's going to overtake your astral body what you want to express. And you're going to become very attractive. You're going to draw in and magnetize attention, support, or other type of energies to that Leo location in your chart. But in opposition to that, there's somebody or some others who say, hey, we take claim of all of that light and glory. You can't use that for anybody else or anything else. We have an interest in that, and we want you to do or live or be or express according to our limitations and expectations. Okay? And that's where you feel like somebody has a grip on you that they shouldn't have. You know, this could be an institution, career, job, family members, so on and so forth, colleagues, people in society, you know, of certain, or organizations or establishments. And you're going to have to clarify that I'm not here to be a puppet or to live out your story. I'm not here to be how you want me to be. Can't do it like that. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, so on and so forth. Understand that. Now, the need for self-sufficiency, independence, self-determination, an independent version of the self can suddenly dawn or generate here. This is where Venus is intensifying a deep desire through the astral body, which makes it a reality that you can taste, feel, and touch even before it manifests. Your independence, your self-sufficiency. And this independence and self-sufficiency can be, I no longer rely on your feedback, Pluto Aquarius, or Aquarius Pluto. I no longer rely on your approval. I no longer rely on your permission. I'm not at the limitations of what you're letting me do or allowing me to do, or what you say I am, or what you believe I am, or what you have co-signed or not. From within, I'm going to clarify who I am and what I am that needs to be fully expressed. And Venus coming into Leo, this is where the astral body takes part in that attitude. When the astral body takes part in that attitude, you then begin to create the reality around you through attractions to confirm it, through relationships and through things. And also through boundaries, which protects and preserves the second house, obviously ruled by Venus. On the opposite end, the Aquarius Pluto, that's the clan, community, or tribe that during the South Node Libra transit, you had codependency exercises to work through. You were learning how to undo the ties and clenches of codependence, attachments. It's also that clan that you used to hold responsible for the righteous anger, okay, during the Cancer Mars retrograde transit earlier this year. It's who you have to set yourself free from the astral body. Setting yourself free from the astral body, it includes the fact that you no longer identify with a particular uh, subset community of thinkers, believers, expressors. You're at the point where you have to draw in and attract your new tribe, your new clan. It could start with an individual. It could start with joining a book club. It could start with, you understand, new coworkers. It could start with a new girlfriend, new boyfriend, husband, or wife. But you're taking a claim through relationships to identify with another astral body that's more consistent with who you are. Astral bodies are not just individuals. We share astral bodies. When you share astral bodies, you share likenesses in beliefs, convictions, desires, things that you find desirable or not. On the other side, that Pluto Aquarius are people who do not share the same desires of you necessarily. So you have to come out of the isolation of that, and you have to connect yourself through the greater world or community or whatever else it may be in order to feel like you a part of a tribe. Understand, embrace. Now, a bigger portion of this has to do with intentions towards relationships. There could be complications in old societal agreements, social agreements, collective agreements within your community, within your clan, and also within the constructs of societal life that presents a power struggle on the way out the door. What I mean by on the way out the door is on the way out the door of conformity, because let's keep in mind that Uranus is in Gemini, revolutionizing the mindset. We are not under the mindset. The cognitive thought process that we used to be in is what we all need to keep sight of. Right now, you are not thinking the way that you used to. We are in an unorthodox cognitive algorithm of thought, as Uranus is at the first degrees of Gemini, giving us an introduction to what it's going to take to set ourselves free and connect the being with that thought process, to connect the being, the bodies, with that thought process. This checkpoint is about connecting the astral body with that thought process. It's at the first degrees of Gemini because it has to go retrograde in order to take us back to where the plugs, the cords, the ties, the chains are at in unfinished business, based on those conclusions and refinement that's taken place with the self. I am not who I used to be. Mind is man, not the body. So once the mind becomes subject to that revolutionary, unorthodox expression of Uranus, the body will follow. The being will follow. Everything of the reality will follow. So now we're trying to identify with relationships that reflects this conviction that we have, this perspective that we have, this open mind state that we have. Understand? So somebody's not going to like that. And we have to utilize Mars and Libra to practice some diplomacy in order to address it and balance those scales out. All right? So this is a good time also for you to sign up for a synastry chart reading. Synastry, okay? So there could be persons in your relationship that you have close relationships with, where this might be a point of concern. Through synastry, we may gain some insights in how to approach it in order, in a way that minimizes the pain or minimizes the offense, or where we can meet the other person where they are at and relate or understand what the person may be feeling, thinking, or going through from their position. There's a lot of insight to have through the synastry charts. So if you have relationship concerns as it goes with this energy, You don't want to hesitate to schedule for a synastry chart reading. This is a good time to get a synastry chart reading, especially being that we have 2 new moons in Virgo, okay, this time around. This is a serious turning point right here. It's not a game. It's not a joke. Understand that. So final detail, Plutonian energy, it can come with a domination over a person's identity. It can dominate the entire being of a person. It assumes entitlement to have access to what is most personal and private of a person. When it comes to Pluto and Scorpio, Plutonian and Scorpio energy, it assumes maximum transparency. In other words, if you can't stand in front of me butt booty ass naked, nigga, you must be hiding something. You know what I mean? It's to that extent. That's the type of energy it is. You must be hiding something if you can't stand here butt booty ass naked, nigga. You know what I mean? What you hide? Bend over and cough. So, the Venus and Leo energy, it's seeking to express and attract a reality that confirms its autonomy, that confirms its independence. And it could do this by who it's reaching out to, the places that it wants to go, the things that it wants to do. It's about responding to the 5 senses to confirm that sense of personal expression and freedom. But at that Pluto place in your natal chart, there's going to be some energy, some feedback there that says, yo, you wildin', what you doing? Hold up, you ain't supposed to do that. I didn't give you permission to do that. You know what I'm saying? That type of feedback. And you're going to have to put somebody on notice, or other people on notice, like, yo, homeboy, hold up. You know what I'm saying? You don't owe me, nigga. You know, who the fuck is you? You don't owe me. You know what I mean? Don't do it the way I'm saying it. But you know what I mean? Diplomacy is what we're supposed to be using right now. You know what I mean? We're going to lead with diplomacy, but we're going to have some difficult conversations, you know, to put people on notice like, yo, listen, I have to create this reality for myself because this is how I feel natural to myself. This is how I feel like I'm being myself. I have to have that feeling connect to that thought and reality because I have to bring in a new reality. All right? That's authentic to who I am. You know, you just going to have to understand. And if you don't understand, you know, that's the part that I might not be responsible for. You know what I mean? But I wish you well in figuring it out. Understand that.